And one of the things that I find really fascinating is that if you think about the training that you get at a brick and mortar office, like who's actually training you? It's the other agents within your office. So these are people that are directly competing against you in your exact market that are supposed to be giving you training. Like, why would they do that? Why would somebody give you like their best quality training when you're directly competing against them in your exact city?
This video is brought to you by morethanrealestateagent.com, your #1 source for real estate merch on the internet. Use code YouTube for 10% off your first order. What's going on, everybody? It's your brother, your uncle, your favorite realtor's favorite realtor, and we're coming to you with another installment of the Blueprint podcast. And as always, every single episode that we record here, for the listener, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever, or if you're watching us on YouTube, I want you to walk away from every podcast episode with some actionable nugget that you can apply to your business on day one. So this episode is no different. We have, for lack of a better word, the GOAT of all things technology and real here with us today, Mr. Malcolm Lawson. How are you today, sir?
Hey, Marvin, doing good, man. Super excited to talk to you today and hopefully give some tactical nuggets of wisdom to your listeners today.
Man, I'm giddy like a kid on the first day of school because Malcolm played a huge part in my decision to join the greatest brokerage this side of the Mason-Dixie. And I'm going to tell you why. That's what this complete time, however long we go, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we are going to talk systems, we're going to talk strategy, and we're going to talk about how to put those systems and strategy into action. Malcolm and I have been aligned for some time now. He is one of my sponsors, and I'm excited to work with him on a very regular basis. And being behind the curtain with Malcolm is completely an experience that if you want to be better, sharper, faster as a real estate agent, leveraging the power of YouTube, book a call in the link in the description of this podcast to hop on my calendar, and we can talk about what you need in your business to get to the next level, because that's what myself and Malcolm are here to do. We not only have M's as our first name, we not only have epic beards, but we also have a lot of value to add in helping agents get better, get sharper, and faster. So Malcolm, tell the good folks your story, what got you into real estate, where do you service, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I guess I'll start. I did 11 years in the Air Force. I worked on radios and satellite communication systems, so I was very kind of techie and kind of nerdy. Spent the last 4 years working at the White House, which was pretty cool. 2015, I had my son. My son, unfortunately, has very severe intellectual disabilities and autism. And so I made a decision to get out of the military for my son and get into a career field that is just more flexible with my schedule. And I got into real estate, and I effing love it. I was meant to be an entrepreneur. I love this industry so much. And so I've been doing this since 2017. And yeah, from the very start, I got into social media and video. While I was in the military, I started a YouTube channel called Survival Know-How. It's like outdoor camping and wilderness survival. I still have that channel. It's up to 187,000 subscribers. And so when I got into real estate, I was like, okay, I got to figure out a way that I can somehow leverage YouTube with, real estate. So 2016, 2017, I started making real estate content. And I was one of the very first people to figure out that you can actually generate real estate leads from YouTube videos. And 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, this was kind of what I was doing for lead generation. I started a Facebook group, the Real Estate YouTube Mastermind. There's up to 20,000 agents in there, selling courses and teaching people how to do YouTube and all that stuff. In 2021, I had my divorce, and then I found myself the single parent of a child with disabilities. And at that point, I realized that, I was doing about 30 deals a year, and I was like, oh man, this is I can't figure it out. This is too much of a challenge to do that many deals. Right. And be a single parent. And so that's when I joined Real Broker. And Real Broker, one of the great things is that there's multiple streams of income available to you. At this time, I was like, okay, I figured out YouTube. I figured out how to generate real estate leads using YouTube. How can I generate real estate agent leads using YouTube? And so I've been doing that for the past 3 years, just educating agents about Real Broker and using it for agent attraction. And I'm now making a very healthy full-time income, passive income from the agent attraction. And now it's been most of my time just talking to agents, educating them, and just kind of building my own personal brand through content creation. And I'm loving it, man. This is way better than being in the military.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, man. That's incredible, and I don't think enough dads are celebrated. And so I want to give you your flowers, especially being a single dad of a child with special needs. I'm sure that has its unique set of challenges, and to still be able to perform at the level that you perform with the information, strategies, and things that you put out on your platform, that's awesome, man. Kudos to you. And I want to talk quickly about the Survival YouTube channel with 187,000 subscribers. I don't want to speed past that. That's super neat. So you're the guy that I need to go to if Walking Dead ever really comes to fruition to get prepared for the upcoming apocalypse. You're that guy.
You do. I've got so much like camping and survival gear that I got for
Yeah.
free. People would
Okay.
send me stuff just to review it. I literally have like $30,000-$40,000 worth of just gear in a
Oh,
closet
wow.
somewhere. I don't know what to do with it all now. Because, one of my most powerful quotes that I've heard is that from Sharon, our president, is to do great things, you need to do fewer things. And so for me, a couple of years ago, actually, despite making, up to $10,000 a month off of that YouTube channel, and
Right.
despite building this big business, I made a decision to actually walk away from that channel. And so it's been almost 3 years now since I uploaded like a real video to that
Right.
channel. It's just I have these other opportunities on
Right.
businesses that I've been focusing on. Yeah, dude, it's I still got all the gear, I still got all that knowledge and like come on up, man. If Walking Dead ever actually happens, that took place in Georgia, didn't it?
It did. It is. Some of it is filmed in Georgia, so that's super neat. As well as Stranger Things is also
Oh,
filmed not too far from me here. So that's cool, man. Well, so Real. All things, Real Broker. Is this was Real Broker your first foray into the real estate world when you got your license? You may have mentioned a little bit about it, but what ultimately, where did your real estate path ultimately go through to
yeah.
bring you to Real?
So I actually went with Keller Williams out of the military. And I guess maybe just coming from the military, I respected Gary Keller. I thought he was a great leader. I read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I read a lot of his
Right.
books, The One Thing, and I really just admired his leadership. And I went to Keller Williams and I did that for 5 years. And kind of during that time period, I was connecting with a lot of other agents that are really focused on video. And this is through Facebook groups and through other communities. And I got invited to a couple of private masterminds all about video and social media, content creation. And I just
Yeah.
made some connections. It just by chance when I was going through this divorce, a lot of my friends came over to Real in 2020. Community is really important to me.
Right.
And so I ended up coming over with this like group of friends. And at that time, Real Broker is about 2,000 agents and in about 32 states. We just passed 20,000 agents. So I've watched and helped this company next over the last 3 years, and we've got so much momentum. Like this ride is just beginning.
Your career brought you to Keller Williams, and so how long did you? What was the ultimate deciding factor? Because I call it Big Red, Keller Williams, and that is a machine and a behemoth in and of itself. They're known for a lot of things. They're known for training, and of course Gary Keller and The One Thing. That must have been quite the transition to walk away from something like that to go to a cloud-based brokerage where your only interactions with agents the majority of the time will be places like Zoom and online. So what kind of prompted that shift, and how did you go about making the decision to choose Real?
Yeah, well, man, the ironic thing is, I actually feel more connected to the community here at Real than I ever did at my brick and mortar. Like, I used to, I would drive 30 minutes to go into my brick and mortar office for some training. And it'd be 5 people would show up, and there's no real connection before or after. You go to the training and you leave.
Right.
I didn't really find that sense of community, and I was at 2 different KW offices. And what I tell people, like, if you actually have a great community there, you have a deep connection, that is a very valuable thing, and it's also just kind of rare, I think. I think most agents don't really find that at their brick and mortars like they really want to. And for me, like, I love being able to connect with agents all around the country. Just today, just before this call, I was hosting a mastermind in the Real Academy. I host 5 masterminds a month in there, and had got to connect with these agents that are like really good friends of mine and all over the country, even in Canada. And Yeah, man, I just feel so much more connected to this community. I'm a member of this community than I ever did when I was at a brick and mortar. So it was a great transition, actually. Everything just improved by coming over here.
Yeah, I noticed when, because I started my career at a brick and mortar, I was at Berkshire, and I joined them because I have a background in Wall Street. And so I said, well, this is Warren Buffett's company. I'm going to get to be involved in
Yeah.
something that has to do with Warren Buffett. And I quickly realized that prior to the whole concept of silos, which we'll talk about that some brokerages are known for, individual offices, as much as you might think you walk into one Berkshire office, Keller office, that you can go into another one and get that same experience. I didn't know until I got into it that these offices are all kind of competing with each other. So
Franchises.
yeah, they're franchises. And so in addition to that, you pay that franchise fee as part of your commission split that they take.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily get to get the inside, secret sauce, if you will, from an agent in another Keller office in another metro. There may be some unique outliers where they do that, but by and large, when you walk into another franchise office for that same broker, it may more than likely be an experience that you realize, okay, they're not operating really as one. Each
Yes.
individual office has their sales goals, their agent count. And if you're not a part of that office, the support that you get is very limited. So I've noticed here, because Real wasn't my first foray into the cloud-based model, but in a cloud-based model, definitely you have the ability to collaborate and get support from folks all over the world. And I think that that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, if you've made it this far in the video and you are a real estate professional, consider partnering with me here at Real Brokerage. Pay nothing per month, get a fantastic split, and you have the opportunity to build a business through revenue share and stock purchases. Book a call at the link below in today's video, and I'm happy to have a conversation on why I was able to grow my business exponentially by moving my practice to Real Brokerage. All right, back to the video.
And you bring up a great point that they are competing against each other. And so there's a financial disincentive for them to give you their best training. And what I love about our model is that we flip that. One, you're getting training from agents all across North America market. And two, we all own stock in this company. We all own revenue share, and like we want to see this company grow. I teach 5 classes a month now in the Real Academy. And why do I do that? Because of the stock, because of the revenue share, because I'm an owner in this company. I just want to see this company grow. And all the other influential agents have that exact same mentality. We're building something together here versus a lot of franchise brokerages. You're working for your broker, and that broker always has his best interest in mind over any agent in there. Like, it's his business and you're just a part in it, versus here, like, you're an owner in the company. It has such a big impact on the culture of the community and the training that we have here.
And I think that to that point, again, not to poo-poo on brick and mortars. If you want to go in and see people on a regular basis, that's fine. But I always say the pushback I always had was that I would rather be out helping buyers and sellers look and sell real estate than being in an office, because if I'm in that office, that means I'm not necessarily in production or doing something that's causing an income producing activity. I can make calls from home. I can do video consultations from home. And ultimately, if I'm not at home, I need to be out helping folks buy and sell real estate. So I think that with this particular model, it puts folks in the best position to be nimble as agents. And if you are not able to make a sales meeting at 8:30 in the morning because that's what your brick and mortar office tells you, because you got a kid at home or you got other obligations, you're still able to get that information. And the cool thing with our model here is that we encourage collaboration. So with Real, and this isn't necessarily so for Real, again, we're just telling you what's worked for us. We've been at other places and we're truly happy as real estate agents here. And I want folks to get that joy and that excitement back about the business. But what I've noticed at Real compared to other cloud-based models that are out there is that there's no silos. There's no walled garden of information that if you didn't join through Malcolm or Marvin, you're locked out of every and anything that you could get from those individuals. Here, we discourage silos. We discourage cool kids clubs. If you come into this brokerage, the expectation is that you produce, and the expectation as well is that any information that's helping you to produce is available to everybody. And I think that that's powerful, because it's nothing worse than being in a cloud-based brokerage where you're already kind of to yourself, right? Because we're all working from home, and then I can't get information from Malcolm because I didn't join through
Yeah.
Malcolm's upline. So Malcolm's giving all this great information, but the real secret sauce, I'm locked out of that. That would make me feel even more walled off, or an orphan, if you will, in real life, to know that even at a cloud-based brokerage, you got to know somebody in order to get that information. That information, that kind of access does not happen here at Real, and I think that's incredibly
And
powerful.
here's the interesting thing, right? Our other competitors offer silos. There is not a single silo that can compete with the value proposition of Real Broker, because we have over 200 online classes. We have over 24 reoccurring masterminds. We have over 30 live streams every single week. We have experts in every single niche and every single topic that you can think of. You get full access to all of that. There's not a single silo at another company that can compete with the value proposition of us. So this model it's far superior in my opinion, and it's just going to explode.
And I think that as we, moving things along, I think that if you are a big giant team and you kind of already have the way that you do your thing with the agents, you're your own brand, you're, the Ryan Serhant, for example, of your city, and agents work because of you as the individual brand, that's perfectly fine. A place like here, it will gravitate and it will cater to that, I should say, through our private label program, where you get to, for all intents and purposes, you still get to be Ryan Serhant, but for all of the other back end things, you have the support. The best word I can use is white label. Like, you get to literally, what is great value? What is, 360 brand at Whole Foods? These are that company's version of the same product, but they're just packaging it in a different format and selling it direct to consumer. If you are your own brand, Real Brokers is excellent. We've got so many big teams that have joined and big brands that have joined that are still operating under their name. Village Premier is a big one. The Premier Group is another big one, where they're, for all intents and purposes, still themselves, but they have the support of a multi-billion-dollar brokerage, and I think that that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of value to brokers joining Real Broker. One, had them tell me it costs them way less to actually join Real compared to running their own brokerage. But we offer so much technology that it would be so hard for an independent broker to build or recreate. Their agents get to tap into a 20,000 agent community and network. There's so much training that an independent broker would have a hard time competing against that. And then just the fact that there's multiple streams of income available to all the agents, from the free stocks that we get to the rev share to joint venture with the title company. Now you can be a mentor at Real Broker and receive rev share from that. And now you can even be a mortgage lender with Real Mortgage and also be the agent on the same transaction with Real Broker. Like, there's so many benefits that it would be almost impossible for an indie to recreate on their own. And so Real's sort of like a platform that these independent brokers can tap into and get a tremendous amount of value for their agents, oftentimes at a discount. They're actually saving money and they're saving themselves a lot of headaches. So absolutely, this is a huge trend that we're seeing. We're seeing more and more indie brokers tapping into Real's platform like this.
I love that, man. I love that. So let's talk about systems. We can talk about systems within the brokerage, but I also want to talk about systems that you use, Malcolm, on a regular basis. One that helps you attract buyer-seller leads, and then one that helps agents that are interested in partnering with you learn more about why Real Brokerage makes sense for their business. So let's talk about the consumer side first, and then the second part of the question about agents. What are some of your systems on a daily basis? Because before you answer it, I have to let everyone know, here at Real, in order to participate in our revenue share program, which is the one of the income streams Malcolm was talking about, you have to be a producing agent. The issue with other brokerages is that you may not necessarily have to do anything other than get your real estate license to just start recruiting other agents to join. But here at Real, you have to produce. So everyone here, from myself to Malcolm and others that talk about this, we are actually producing agents. So walk through those systems, and I have a second part question after that.
Yeah, so my lead generation, it all comes from content creation. I'm a content creator, and for me, there's a lot of different avenues you can go, what type of content, what platform. For me, it's always been long form content. So essentially, articles and websites, and then long form YouTube videos. And I spent about 5 years creating local videos on my YouTube channel. And those videos are still generating me leads today. Years later, I haven't uploaded a local real estate video in probably about 3 years, but I'm still getting leads from those. What I'm also really into writing articles as well. And so typically if I'm going to make a video, I'm also going to have an article for that video as well. And the great thing is a lot of those articles with the video embedded in them are ranking in Google. You know, people talk about how YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Great, yeah, it is. But let's go after the first largest search engine. And the articles that I wrote are ranking really high in Google and still generating me. I get about 60,000 visitors to my website a year completely organically. And those visitors are generating me leads. And the great thing about SEO and like websites is that kind of like the older an article is, the more established it is, the better it is. That is one of the factors that Google looks at. And so again, like the 5-year-old articles, they just kind of get better with age. As long as I go in there, keep them updated, it just has more and more credibility. So that's for lead generation on the agent side. It's content creation, specifically long form content. On the agent attraction side, it's content creation, long form content. I've been writing articles and creating YouTube videos about Real for 3 years now, and a lot of those are ranking very high in Google. In fact, if you Google most search terms about Real Broker, my website ranks higher than Real Broker's own website. So if you search something like Real Broker fees, I'm number one, they're number two. Real Broker rev share plan, I'm number one, they're number two. So I'm pretty good at that. And so, yeah, I do a lot of YouTube videos and articles. Lately, I've been really kind of trying to tap into the short form content on Instagram and on Facebook. And part of the reason for that is I'm just trying to build my personal brand. I've had a lot of people, real estate agents really use Instagram. They're very active on Instagram and on Facebook too, honestly. And I had a few experiences. People would find me on YouTube, then they'd find me on Instagram and message me on Instagram. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like, I need to really start building this and focusing on this. Because the interesting thing is, like, when it comes to YouTube, there is no message feature. You can't just message a YouTuber, but you can on every other platform. And so a lot of people are just used to doing that on Instagram. And so I have been the last 12, 18 months, maybe like the last 2 years, really kind of focusing on Instagram as well. And I see that it's more of YouTube is the top of the funnel, and then that Instagram is kind of that bottom or middle of the funnel where they can actually reach out to me. So I think that is important to focus on that for agent attraction these days.
And so do you have a specific call to action that you gravitate individuals? Because you're right. I think YouTube used to have like a messaging kind of system, but they did away with it. So to that point about systems, how are agents that are interested and buyers and seller leads that are still watching your old videos, how do they usually get in touch with you?
So I provide all my contact information, I provide all my social media information, but I prefer it when they just schedule a video call with me. Like I've had people texting me and emailing me, and I'm like, okay, great, let's hop on a video call. And they're like, okay, how about this time? I'm like, no, how about this day, this time? I hate that back and forth. It's so time consuming. Right. Now I just use Calendly, and I effing love it. I love Calendly. If somebody else says, that's my main call to action is, hey, you want to learn more about Real Broker? Let's hop on a one-on-one video call, link down below. They click on that, it automatically takes them to my calendar, and they can schedule an appointment. And now what I'm actually doing is I'm using a program called Typeform before they get to Calendly. So Typeform, what it does is it asks them a series of questions, and depending on their answers to those questions, it routes them to different pages or other questions. And so I'm doing this because I was getting a lot of people scheduling calls with me who really had no interest of actually putting me down as a sponsor, or sometimes it'd be competitors who wanted to talk to me but have no interest in actually joining the company. And I would get a lot of these. And in February is my busiest month. I had as many as 14 agent attraction calls a week. Some of those are just wasting my time. And so I now have this Typeform, and I ask them in there, if this call goes well, are you willing to name me as a sponsor or co-sponsor? If they say no, I route them to hey, thanks, but I only do these calls for people actually joining. And I'm at the point now where new agents, I love new agents. I was getting so many of them. and that I don't really think that I'm the best person right now to personally sponsor a new agent. And so I've been routing those to a person in my downline, and he can kind of give them a little bit more one-on-one mentorship. And so if they check that they've been an agent for less than 2 years, those leads route to a different person as well. If they meet all my criteria, then it routes them to my Calendly. And this has freed up a lot of my time so that I can really focus on higher activities for my time.
And I think it's important because you are such a dominant authority. And I know some of you all listening are like, what's SEO? What's this? What's that? SEO just means search engine optimization. It's how when the person tells you to Google it, the first thing that pulls up, that person or that business, that means that they have a high authority in that subject matter, whatever it is. The first 2 or 3 links, you want to be on the first page of Google. And so Malcolm clearly has done an amazing job on his search engine optimization and building that authority over time, which is why he is the top person that you'll see when you're researching all things real. I look to be right after him. That's what we're working on this end. So you'll get the benefits of both of us anyway. But I think that
Can I give you my philosophy when it comes to SEO?
Yeah, sure.
Because there is I think a lot of misinformation out there about SEO. And there's a lot of like real nerdy people getting really in the weeds and all these details about how to tweak it and how to optimize it. But the truth is, a lot of that I don't think is relevant anymore. I think that Google's algorithm is an AI. And if you look at any algorithm, let's say take YouTube, for example, what they're trying to do is quantify a good user experience. Like, this person have a good experience, right? So if they watch the video for a long time, we call that watch time. That's a good signal. If they click on the video, that's a good signal. If they subscribe, that's a good signal. If they comment, go into other videos, that's all great signals of a good user experience. So really, my philosophy when it comes to SEO, how I outrank Real Broker's own website, is that I try to give the best experience to the consumer as I can with my article. And there's only a handful of variables in there that you can really play with, the images, the text, the videos, how you kind of format, adding links to it. But that's really what I do. So for example, if somebody wanted to look up Real Broker fees, they could go to Real Broker's website and, hey, here's one quick little page. Here's our fees. What I did is I wrote, hey, here's Real Broker's fees, and here's fees of our other 3 competitors with links to those sources so you know it's credible. And then here's a custom-made chart doing a side-by-side comparison. And then here's me running 3 separate scenarios showing production of how much it would cost at all 3 companies. And then here's a custom-made fee calculator where you can enter in your production and it'll calculate the fees for you. And here's a 45-minute long video of me going into detail about how these fees compare to our other competitors. That is a much better user experience than just one page with the fees. And that's really how I outrank Google or outrank Real Brokers. I just provide as much value as I can, and I focus on that user experience.
And that is one of, if not the sole reason that I joined Real, was because of the amount of due diligence that you did for me and many other producing agents. And it made my conversation with you, because joined with a previous brokerage through a similar sponsor model, and I didn't do enough homework on the sponsor, which led me to not do enough homework on the brokerage and the culture. And so lost time. I had a lot of issues with the individual just because we weren't a good fit, and I didn't know that. I joined off of social media, and that was it. A person off of social media, that was it. And so what I did this go around with you is I asked tough questions, and a lot of the questions you answered in your videos for me. Because you can hang your license anywhere as a real estate professional. Any company will gladly take you as long as you don't have any crazy stuff on your record or anything. But what brokerage is actually going to support the agent that you're trying to become? What sponsor is connected through collaboration and just through just watching how they do? I always say the agent that you'd like to become is who needs to be your sponsor. So if it's a newbie agent and they're not in Georgia, the great thing with here at Real Brokerage is we have a co-sponsor model. So I will look for, if I'm a Dave Ramsey guy, so he has what he calls his endorsed local providers, which are individuals that follow the Ramsey principles and teachings in any respective state. So when you connect with that person too is a proponent of Dave Ramsey's principles, right? So it's kind of like getting Dave in Georgia or getting Dave in Florida or whatever. So that kind of mindset, and I met the guy a couple of days ago, is how I approach my newbie agents. So if they're based local with me, I have a team, so I have training for new agents that get them out of the blocks with as little hand holding as possible. It's things that I've already done, videos I've already recorded, that as long as they watch those, along with what's in Real Academy, they're going to have everything that they need. For my producing agents, typically those individuals just have an unlock that they need from me, whether it's Marvin, I want to do more social media. I want to do more YouTube videos. I want to get my lighting, my sound. I want to get everything on dialed in so that when I'm doing lead generation, folks really see that I run my business professionally. So that's the value add that I, through Malcolm and through others, we'd be able to provide collaboratively. Everybody gets that secret sauce. But I think that when you are trying to really grow as a veteran agent, you need to be plugged into the right brokerage, and you need to do as much of your homework as possible, because that's a big move, especially if you're a multi-million, mega million team or whatever. You're asking a whole lot of individuals that are comfortable where they are to make a change, and that change darn sure better be a good change, or else you're going to run into, folks, deciding not to leave and all that. So like, I think that those are some key things that I think are pretty powerful in making that shift. And your videos, man, the reason it ranks, man, is because you've done such a great job, and you don't have to do those videos ever again for it to still not continue to benefit you. And I think that that's powerful. But in the whole NAR world that we're in right now, what is some of the content that you're seeing that maybe is in your kind of thought process going forward that you think would be of value to other real estate agents? What's some things that are out there that you're thinking about?
Yeah. So what I think is really fascinating and a good conversation to have right now is additional streams of income, right? Because here's the truth, like buyer agent commission, it may get reduced, right? It's actually, that's been the trend nationwide, is that the buyer agent commission has been getting reduced the last 10 years or so. It may get reduced a little bit more with this. And having additional streams of income is really important. And one of the things I'm really excited about Real and is that we have Real Broker has a title company, has a mortgage company as well, and you can become a mortgage loan officer and be the loan officer on the same transaction that you're the buyer agent. If you do that, you'll make an extra 1.25% of the loan amount on top of your buyer agent commission.
So powerful.
That's huge. You could do the exact same production, just also be the loan officer on the same thing. I think you're actually giving your clients a better experience because you know everything. You're the subject matter expert on the entire transaction. You're not just handing it off to somebody else. And we benefit from that. And the hardest part about our business is generating leads, right? It's generating that business in the first place. And what we're doing is we're generating the business and then we're just handing it off and just giving it away for free to a loan officer who's making 1.25%. So like, I think this is an important conversation. It's like, what other streams of income into your business? We have RevShare, we have the mentorship program, which we're launching right now.
That's big.
Yeah, just in case the buyer agent commission does get compressed over the next 5 years, which it might, we never really know.
And I think that if you're in having that flexibility, if you're a solo agent that's a high producer, but you don't want the responsibility of managing an entire group of individuals, maybe you just have your onesie twosies that you mentor. That's powerful. I was a mentor for over 3 years at my previous brokerage. And because I didn't get to choose the individuals that I mentored, I made money, but it became very, very stressful, and I wasn't getting the ROI for the effort I was putting into it. So I think that the mentor program here with Real is very unique because it allows the mentor and the mentee the ability to interview each other and also ensure that they are a good fit if a person doesn't necessarily want to join a team, but they just want to kind of have someone that they support. And I think that the loan officer piece that you mentioned, I think that's powerful, man. I think that's, so powerful that you can get paid within compliance for the state through the loan officer referral program that we have here with Real, whereas in other brokerages, you could not be the buyer's representative as well as the loan officer directly. Through our program here, it allows you to still get the benefit. And I'm working on my loan MLO license as we speak because I just want to have that value add in case there's an individual that, maybe they have a realtor that they're working with, maybe it's their cousin, but they don't have a lender. that they're working with. So being able to still serve them in the highest level possible, I think is incredibly powerful.
I'm excited about that. That is going to be a new trend in our industry, the
Yeah.
agent being the loan officers. And you mentioned that we have sort of a referral program like that as well, where if you don't want to do all the back end work of the loan officer, you can actually essentially partner with another loan officer that's more experienced. You bring the lead in, you have them fill out the application, and then the other loan officer does all the work in the back end. In that situation, you get 0.5% of the loan amount, they get 0.75% of loan amount, and is essentially a referral program for loan officers, which I've never seen in this industry before. Again, just additional streams of income into our businesses here.
Love it, man. I love it. And so back to systems here. What are some of your favorite, systems? Like me, Malcolm, I'm shifting towards minimalism. So for example, I had so many different subscriptions that I was paying for. I had Zoom, I had Slack, I had Dropbox. I had a lot of these systems out there, and I'm finding that I'm kind of consolidating a few things. Within Real, we have a one-stop shop that gives you access to transaction management, paperwork, commissions, questions that you have for the brokerage, trainings, all that stuff. That's baked into our Reason platform, which there's a lot of videos that talk about it. I've done them. Malcolm's done that. Others. But what are some of your favorite systems as a real estate agent, producer that you leverage on a regular basis? And then I'll name some of my
Yeah, so like Calendly is amazing. I use a program called Loomly to schedule my vertical content. So okay, so I'll tell you my favorite system that I recently created, and that's that I got a VA. I got a virtual assistant through assistantly.com. So I get her for 20 hours a week for $1,300 a month. And she's essentially my social media and content creator liaison, I guess. And so what I do now is, I'm putting out a lot of content every month. So I do 4 YouTube videos a month, dedicated ones, and I do those. But then I also do 4 interviews a month with real broker agents. I hand that off to my VA. She edits that down into 2 separate interviews, and then also extracts the audio to turn that into a podcast. That's 4 pieces of content a week right there. She then turns one of those into an article using ChatGPT to create a transcript and then to kind of summarize that. And so she's creating an article, a real broker review article off of that. And then she sends that file, those videos, to my video editor. He turns those into, well, we're trying to figure out the exact number now. Well, it's probably about 5 Instagram reels on average. And then he sends those back to her. She takes those and she schedules those out on Loomly pretty much every other day or so that I have vertical interview clips being uploaded to my Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. I think that's it. And then I do some vertical videos as well. And I'm also trying to do more blog posts as well. So on that side, and then for the other side, for my lead gen, like I use ChatGPT to write articles, and then my assistant is publishing those articles for me as well. So altogether across all the platforms, it's probably 100 pieces of content a month or so. And then I also do 5 live streams in the Real Academy. I try to do live streams in my YouTube Facebook group. And then another thing I like to do is in the Facebook group, when people ask questions, I try to give them a video response. And I try to do that daily if I can. So I'm just putting out a tremendous amount of content, and I can do that because I've systematized it so much. Those 4 interviews, they only take an hour each. So that's 4 hours a month right there. And then just kind of creating the regular YouTube videos. That does take a little more time, but I have that video editor. He's doing that for me. So yeah, I've really systematized my content creation, and then having calls with people as well. I'm using Calendly to schedule those and book those for me. And it's just really freed up a lot of my time. I love having these systems in place.
You got to, man. You got to, because that's the only way you can scale. Is I've heard so many good things about a VA. I haven't made that leap yet, but I'm seeing that that's going to be something that I'm going to need to go ahead and do, because I hear a lot of great things about having VAs, and I think it's about having the right VA that you can train, because they'll do the work, but you want to make sure that a end user or a consumer won't tell the difference between content you directly put out and content that your VA puts out. So I think having a really thorough training that you do with them, so they understand exactly how you flow. Maybe, they watch a couple of your blog pieces and content, so they have an idea of what Malcolm sounds like, that they're able to duplicate it. And then you, of course, proof it and all that stuff. And it just allows you to have what I call tentacles everywhere. And personally, I post on 4 platforms now: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube Shorts. And so the reason being is that the same piece of content, if I share it in TikTok, it may not do anything. If I share it on Instagram, it may not do anything. But on Facebook, it could take off because Facebook has a Reels platform, or YouTube Shorts, it could take off. You never know where your next video is going to hit. And so for agents, I'm telling them all home tours, home tours, home tours, and having those types of videos done long form. You can use a platform like ChatGPT to help you write the description of the video. I mean, it's pretty insane the kind of commands you can give ChatGPT and what it will spit out. And you're like, man, this is better than what I could have wrote myself. And so I think that we have to, as agents, we have to embrace technology. We have to embrace video. And a lot of the apps that you mentioned, I use as well. I don't use Calendly. I use Google Scheduling just because it's almost identical to Calendly, and I'm a Google guy. So like instead of Zoom, I have Google Meet, and I know you use it as well. Instead of Dropbox, I have Google Drive, and it just I'm in the Google ecosystem. So as they continue to expand, and I have to believe that if you're in the number one search engines, if you're using their platform, I kind of feel like in some kind of way that they'll give you a bigger push than if you were not. So like I don't natively post videos, for example, in Facebook. I don't post links from YouTube into Facebook. I post in Facebook because I saw so many places that said Facebook's not going to push you away from their platform. So you have to pick your platform, I feel, and then whichever one you're seeing is working, double down on that and keep it, keep it up and keep the consistency going. So yeah. Now, I do want to ask you, Malcolm, as well. And if you're getting value from this podcast, if you're the listener listening on your favorite podcast platform, do me a huge solid and leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching this video, let me know in the comments what you are getting value from, what's resonating with you, anything that you would add to the conversation that Malcolm and myself are having. And if you want to join Real or learn more about joining Real Broker, click the link in the first pinned comment to hop on my calendar. By partnership with me, you would automatically be partnered with Malcolm. So we're here to help you in your success. And to use the Shark Tank analogy, having 2 sharks helping you in your business is always better than 1. And we encourage collaboration here. Malcolm, what would you say in 2024 agents need to get away from or stop doing that could be hindering them in their business because maybe they were taught in years past that this is the way to go? What are some of the things that agents need to put aside this year and eliminate it from their business?
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, I say that the lead generation has changed. It is evolving, and it has been evolving the last couple of years. And some of the old stuff still works, but the landscape has definitely changed. And I would say what people need to focus on today is building a personal brand. This is essential in 2024 to have a personal brand and building that relationship with people. If you are just a faceless agent, you're just another agent on Zillow, and you don't have a brand, you don't have a connection, anything unique about you, you don't have any way people can learn more about you other than a little headshot on your Zillow profile, like you're gonna get left behind. Building a personal brand is the only way we're going to compete with Zillow and Redfin, all these other people who just look at us as just, a pawn, just a transaction piece, like we have to kind of show our value proposition and build those relationships. And we do that through building personal brands. And so I'd just say like, that is what we need to do, is not be faceless real estate agents anymore, and put our faces out there.
I think that that's important. One thing that I've been talking with a lot of agents on is getting comfortable being on camera. I think we all have our insecurities. We think we sound a certain kind of way. We think we don't look a certain kind of way. And I tell people all the time, Malcolm, that at the end of the day, the person watching really doesn't care about you or me. They just care about the information. And if the information is good, they're going to stick around. If the information is not good, then it doesn't matter how you look anyway. You didn't give them the answer to the question that they needed. And so the cadence that I'm walking agents through specific to social media is do one video where you are in a home talking about, from a first person perspective, what you love about that home, what you hate about that home. Well, not hate about the home, but what you love about the home and what could be worked on with the home. Do another video where you are maybe highlighting a local business. Now you're giving that local business some shine. They're going to appreciate you because if they get traction from the video that you feature with them, you better believe you're going to get free hamburgers for life. You better believe you're going to get free ice cream for life from that business. But, and this was a conversation I had with another guest on the platform here, Jonathan. I'll link his podcast in the description below. He talked about how he created a loyalty card. And that loyalty card he created was him having conversations with several local businesses and saying, hey, if I bring business to you, meaning that they show up with this loyalty card, I believe he called it a county connoisseur, you know that that individual is there because of my efforts. So what can you do for that particular customer that they wouldn't normally get if they didn't come here with the card? And so what Jonathan said was, that the business said was, okay, I'll give whoever mentions this card, 10% off of an oil change or 5% off of a haircut or whatever the case is. So now other businesses are going to see all of the traffic that you as the content creator are driving to the business A. The business next door is going to say, hey, how can I become one of your loyalty members? I'm willing to pay you $300. So we're talking about income streams. We got to get tactical. Our real estate license, the commission you get from your real estate license is just one of several ways you can be paid in this business. I did a video talking about other businesses that are real estate adjacent. As long as you disclose it to the potential client, that you have a business, you have an interest in another business, let's say it's a moving company or let's say it's a trash hauling company or whatever, you can get paid so many ways from this business. It's not even funny. And I think that those of us that are afraid of the settlement and our buyer commissions going away, if you're not getting ahead of this, then you're going to get left behind. So that's my thoughts on that. So those are just some creative ways. What are you
On what additional streams of income?
yeah, like a whole loyalty card idea that another agent talked about. I mean, I think that's genius.
I think it's super cool. If you can get enough people to sign on, and you're also kind of like recommending those restaurants to your clients as well. I'd make these little PDF pages of for each county that I serve and be like, hey, here's my top 3 restaurants that I recommend in this county. Here's my top 3 things to do. And when I would have buyer consultations with people, I would give them this little flyer. Because I used to have a printed buyer's consultation that I would give them when I sit down and did it, and then one of those pages be like, "Hey, you're new to the county. Here's my top recommendations." And so what he's saying is like he's essentially doing that. Like, "Hey, here's my favorite 10 places in this town, and you can get a discount at all of them." So I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I love that.
And we just got to get creative. We just have to. You can't make excuses. You got to make moves as an agent. Sometimes making a shift from that particular brokerage that you're at could be the unlock that you need to make. Adding these creative ideas to generate income from other places could be a great idea. But ultimately, you just got to get busy. You got to get busy. You can't just sit around like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh and just say, oh, woe is me, I'm going to get out of the business. The business is going to be here whether you're buying or selling. Ultimately, personally speaking, I think it could be a good thing if some agents hang it up, because then the market's going to essentially begin to equalize, where a lot of agents, got their license during the pandemic and, they have yet to sell a home. But if you're watching this video, or listening to this podcast, you are not going to be that minority. You're going to be the agent that takes action from this. Malcolm and myself are giving you a few ideas on how to do that. So landing the plane here, Malcolm, what are some key takeaways that you think? We talked about what agents need to stop doing. We talked about how they need to embrace building a brand. Are there any other things that a person can do today to begin to move the needle in the right direction in their business?
So you kind of talked about this earlier. It's systems. I'm a big fan of that. There's one of my favorite books is called The E-Myth, The Entrepreneur Myth.
Great book.
It changed everything. And what he talks about is essentially write out all the systems in your business as if you were a franchise and you're actually trying to franchise your business, because that is what businesses are. Businesses are systems. And so if you get a new lead, you say to that lead, that script that you say to a new lead, that is a system. What you do next with that lead is a system. How you have your buyer's consultation is a system. How you work with your clients and communicate with them. What you do with your clients afterwards. These are all systems. And these are all systems that you need to build out. Part of my system is when I get a new lead, I have kind of a couple of objectives. One of them is to get them set up with my lender who's going to follow up with them. One of them is to schedule a video call with me. One of them is to get them set up on a weekly email of properties in their area. This is how you systematize this. Genuinely, like write out all the systems that you need to build, have a PDF for each of them or Word document, and write out step by step what your system is for everything. Content creation. I have systematized my content creation. This is my lead generation, right? Listing appointments, buyers consultations, these are all systems. And this is what your business is. And this is what you really need to take time and work on your business, not necessarily in your business.
Love that. I love that. Yeah, systems. You got to do it. If you don't have a system, you're not telling yourself how you want to run your business on a daily basis, and you're not telling your potential clients the fastest and easiest way to get in touch with you and to take them on that journey from start to finish. Amazon does a great job doing that. A lot of other retail places do that. Take that and apply it into your business. Having a good CRM, use Lofty, strongly suggest it. It's been the most powerful system that takes my clients, potential buyer leads, seller leads on a journey. And when I'm talking with other agents, leveraging Google Calendar, leveraging technology in those other ways. But ultimately, if you don't build it, then you cannot complain why you don't have success. So Malcolm, this has been powerful, man. This has been a powerful, powerful hour, nearly hour of conversation. Before I let you go, what's the best way for folks that are interested in buying and selling in the state of Maryland to get in touch with you? And what's the best way that agents that are interested in co-sponsoring, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I've got two websites. I got livinginmaryland.com. That's my, real estate website, generates me real estate leads. And then I have next-genagents.com is my agent focus website. A lot of free tools, a lot of educational content on there for real estate agents.
Love it. I'm going to link that for those of you listening and watching. I'm going to link that in the show notes in the description of this video. I get tons of value. I'm on his blog all the time. And I will put, as I mentioned, my calendar if you want to talk about alignment here with Real Broker. We're just here to give you the information. The application and the execution is up to you. So until the next podcast, this is your brother, your uncle, your favorite realtor's favorite realtor signing off. Thank you again, Malcolm, for being a part of the conversation.